the main thing is one of the main topics is AJ Styles. AJ Styles, obviously an amazing wrestler, and a lot of people winding it down this year. We had John Cena in 2025 go, and now it looks like AJ Styles is going to retire a lot sooner than later. So the main question is AJ Styles retiring at the Royal Rumble. Is Gunther going to beat him? Now, the way they've done this, now whether I'm a fan of him retiring this early, everyone wants him to his WrestleMania moment. But with everything that's been done so far, with the Shinsuke match at Saturday Night's Main Event, which is very emotional, which the CM Punk match, which was on Monday Night Raw, again, was emotional too. They had never faced off in the WWE ring before. So that was the first time. So a lot of first and last for AJ. Could have been his final Raw. Do you think, the way the story is leading up, do you think this is AJ's final match in Saudi Arabia at the Royal Rumble against Gunther?
I think it's his final match in Saudi Arabia against Gunther. I don't think it's his final match, but here's what I think AJ's lifespan is. Okay, AJ is he's close. He's damn near close to my age. I mean, I'm 47, but I know he's in his 40s, right? He's got to be.
Yeah, late 40s. Yeah.
So I know what he's going through body wise for somebody who's active. And I mean, I'm as active as probably he is, to be honest with you. I get it. I also get having kids, and as they get older, you're like, dude, I'm missing out on this. You start reflecting on your life in your 40s, and you're just like, I've been doing this my whole damn life. My wife has put up with this. So I'm looking at it from a personal perspective. What happens is this: he goes home, he plays video games, he has fun, he starts a podcast with his kids, and then things go on. And 4 years down the road, there's a rookie that comes through and says something, and next thing you know, AJ Styles comes back looking better than ever, looking like HBK with a 3-year run, with 5 more title runs. That's where I think AJ goes. AJ doesn't have to retire. If he does, which I think he will. I think he's choosing to walk away for a little while. And I think a couple years, 3 years down the road somewhere, you're going to see him do a return like an Edge, something like that, or Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, whichever way you want to look at it. I personally think Bryan Danielson character was better than Daniel Bryan, just my opinion, but whatever.
Both are.
I think that's where you end up.
Trent, what do you think? A lot of people say that he could be, his WWE career could end, but he could go to TNA for a little bit, wind up there. They did a lot of teasing on the first episode of TNA with a showdown with Kazarian and maybe a future matchup with Santana. What do you think, Trendsetter? Is TNA a possible destination in this storyline, which obviously has us all talking because we don't know how it's going to end?
Listen, this is another reason why I like having Todd here, because Todd is amazing to speak to, unlike you, Jeff, where it just like sometimes I just wish for the podcast to end so quickly. But nice to have Todd in here and bring that energy. No, I thank Todd for that, Jeff, and great job bringing him along. That's the one good thing you've done all in 2020.
I'm a good guest.
But what I must say about this is that, listen, I'm somebody who loves Easter eggs. Like, I'll watch Marvel, I'll DC. Oh my God, they're the possibility this guy might come in the next movie or where the case might be. I love Easter eggs, and they are throwing a whole bunch of eggs out there in terms of stating that his WWE career will come to an end as opposed to his in-ring career comes to an end. AJ's already made it publicly known that 2026 was going to be his final year, and people are again anticipating, it's going to go into WrestleMania, maybe some other John Cena later into 2026, but not necessarily, because he just said 2026. We are in currently that year, and if that's the scenario, that's the scenario. It couldn't be written any more perfect, too, because of what happened with Gunther and how he retired John Cena. And we've talked about it, Jeff, time and time again. And Jeff and I say that Gunther is now the new legend killer because he retired Goldberg, retired John Cena, the greatest of all time in some people's eyes. And now a guy like AJ Styles to have that aura about him, which he's, in terms of getting nuclear heat, Gunther is getting nuclear heat because people just despise the fact that he made John Cena tap out, and he's relishing in that in front of everybody, just hating him. That's great. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but not in the terms of the story, because then you're like, well, Brian, why did they tell the story? Here's why, though, because they want you to think and keep guessing. Unlike previous regimes where it was kind of pretty easy to kind of decide the direction they're going in, now they're throwing things at you in terms of like, well, AJ Styles debuted in WWE in 2016. 10 years later, what better way to retire than at the Royal Rumble again? So they're throwing this out there. I don't think it's going to happen, though, personally, because AJ came out, says, he has a lot more memories to give. He wants one more world title run. So people could say, that CM Punk one was his last title run or his last title shot. But I think to your point too, Jeff, if it does happen, which I don't think it will, I'll publicly state that now. I don't think he's going to lose to Gunther. But if it does happen, it does leave the boat open for TNA in that partnership, which we've wanted to see as well. Him have one more match in TNA, whether it's for the X Division title or for a world championship in TNA. That's the possibility, but I still think it's him being active because, Todd, this is the one thing I told Jeff too. We had a retirement tour for John Cena. Little did we know, or most people weren't paying attention, we were also at the same time having a retirement tour for AJ Styles, Finn Balor, John Cena, Shinsuke Nakamura. But it was in the background behind John Cena, and people weren't paying attention to it. So we have had that run, but just hasn't been in the public eye. And the one thing that's frustrating me the most about this, and I want to get your opinion, Jeff, and you, Todd, that the mere fact that we're talking about this now, this is the only time I could ever remember there is a story being built for AJ Styles that people are talking about, as opposed to, hey, let's just put him in a match here and let's put him there. There hasn't been enough respect, not in terms of respect for AJ Styles as a person and a professional wrestler, but respect of, hey, I have this guy for this amount of time. Why would I want to use him? And this is the only first ever important moment that I've seen this year for AJ Styles.
Yeah, Todd, you can take that one first, and then I'll talk about that. Just your thoughts on AJ.
I think they had to push him after the failed black trench coat, black jeans.
Oh yeah,
AJ. You know, I think that was. I liked physically. I think he looked better than ever. But he needed a push after that because that was a gimmick. I don't know where that gimmick came from. I don't know what he was thinking coming back with that, but I was like, no, this isn't going to work, man. Throw the crossbones back on and let's get to work. So one, I think he needed a push, but he looks physically really, really good.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how the ratings were for that TNA episode. If they were good, great. I don't know if that's on his. Me personally, I don't think it's on his list of things to do. And to the other point you made about Cena, that conversation when Cena took the mic and was introducing Styles there and giving him, basically, I mean, just putting him over on the mic, like before the match even friggin' started. That was another test to me going, this is it, dude. Like, and again, nobody really picked up on it because Cena didn't really do that with anybody else. No. But he did it with AJ. So I don't know. I personally, I think you're going to see him in Royal Rumble. Maybe you'll see him do little things, but I think he's going to go away quietly. I don't think it's going to be a loud, he's out of here. I don't see that.
A lot of fans too are like, well, if he retires, I get the 10-year anniversary, which again, they mentioned that as well. And I think they're throwing too many things at us where they're like, wait a minute, now maybe it's making it too obvious that this is not going to happen because it might just keep going for a little bit longer. But it has us talking, which is good. I totally agree that AJ Styles, as far as runs, definitely has one more run left in him. And I totally believe that if he took some time off, maybe he comes back re-energized and somebody calls him out, you could see him from time to time show up. I think TNA is a possibility. You mentioned about how the ratings were for TNA. I think they've been underwhelming. I think it's been under 300,000 viewers, and I would believe it's been underwhelming. But for them, though, to start out on AMC seems to be happy. So we'll see if they can pick it up. I mean, for shows like that, you got to give them at least like 3 months, 4 or 5 months, whatever, to see how they can elevate. And I think with AJ Styles, maybe on programming could help them out a little bit. You could see matches like Santana and with a Frankie Kazarian to close out his career and maybe wind it down. I would love to see AJ in a Mania match because I think that's how it should be, a farewell. The only thing is they've built up Gunther so huge here that I just don't see how he gets out of it at WrestleMania without making Gunther look bad if he loses, because all this build up to beating John Cena and beating a Goldberg and retiring them, they've kind of painted themselves in a corner where they're like, okay, we've done all this, but how do we get AJ that win then? Or do we do a DQ, or do we do something like that where the match doesn't go through? It's also you got to think about Gunther though, because now what happens. How do you protect Gunther in a situation like this? Because if AJ gets the win, then you've kind of pulled back a little bit on Gunther's progress since beating John Cena. So a lot of stuff to think about. That's why this, to me, is the most, besides the men's Rumble, this is probably the most talked about matchup so far, because we've gotten the Easter eggs, we've gotten all that stuff and the talk. And I believe that this opens, actually the Royal Rumble. And everyone loves to talk about what opens the match, the show. I think AJ versus Gunther will open up Royal Rumble. What do you guys think?
But Jeff, isn't that what we want, though?
I do.
Isn't that what we don't want to predict? Well, we can sit here and debate the fact that, yes, they've set up Gunther in a scenario where how can you protect him, but also at the same time not hurt AJ if he does win this one? Could it be disqualification or not? Or the fact that this could be it. The way they're writing it out right now, you couldn't ask for a better ending scenario for AJ Styles, because if it's not Gunther, then who? Does he just go out quietly at night and loses to some random, person, becomes a gatekeeper in a certain way as they elevate him to elevate a new star to another position? He just kind of goes out quietly. I mean, if there's ever a perfect way to go out into the sunset in Saudi Arabia, nonetheless, it would be this. So I love it because it's just not as predictable as you think it would be. And that's why I think I can, I never want to speak for anybody, but I think I can speak collectively for all of us here and people on the stream too. That's why we love talking about it, because it's not predictable.
And also too, and if it is AJ Styles' last match, I just want to say he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He has had an amazing career.
Yes,
this guy has. We've always wanted him to go to WWE. It was always the goal. Obviously, he was a TNA guy. Was the face that runs the place over there. Went to Japan, built himself up there. Killed it over there.
Yeah.
And he comes over here, and then he was afraid on the first time he came in whether they're going to recognize him or not. The pop he got in Orlando for the Royal Rumble, and then ever since, man, he's just had an unbelievable career. And I think that to redeem himself against Nakamura, because we were there live at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans for that match against Nakamura, we were psyched for that one, and it totally underwhelmed. I don't know whether it was just, it just wasn't meant to be that night, but we were all psyched and a little deflated after that because it wasn't what we wanted it to be. Then you go to Saturday night's main event, and it was. So we're happy with that. And then him and CM Punk, even though Finn Balor interfered, for the Toronto fans to get that main event, that had to be awesome for them. So if it were the end, I just want to say thank you to AJ Styles, because it is a tremendous career. And as we talk about also social media, Todd, one thing I've noticed in posting is the fans' fascination with the set and the way things look, because, dude, that gets so many views, dude. I cannot fathom why people are so interested in stages or being the first to leak and stuff like that, but that is just absolutely wild. And to think, guys, that this stadium was built in give or take 30 days from scratch in Saudi Arabia, and it takes us 30 years to build a highway, is freaking ridiculous, guys. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this WWE Saudi Arabia stadium that got built in like 30 days? If you've seen the pictures for it, it is insane that they got this done on time.
What can you say? I mean,
it's crazy.
It's taken. The Key Bridge goes down in Baltimore, right, in Maryland, which is one of the most important bridges for transportation when it comes to water, and for people to get to work from Maryland to Virginia and DC. Very, very, very important bridge. And I think the first time they built it, it costs maybe $2 million, $3 million, or whatever it was back in the 70s or 80s. I think now, after it exploded, I think now it's like 38 billion, and it's going to take like 4.5 years. I don't know how that happens. So here's my answer to you. Maybe a corrupt government in Saudi Arabia built it because they wanted to make the money. So they showed, hey, we can build friggin' stadiums in 30 days as long as we're getting paid.
They have tons.
And I think we could too, as long as they were getting paid.
They have tons of money, and you can't blame WWE for taking their shows there, dude. I mean, come on. What I think, guys, is like
politics into wrestling.
Unless you run a business like that, you don't know that. You know what I mean? Like, listen. I love how
people take moral ground, Jeff. People take moral grounds and moral feet when they have no idea, they have no skin in the game, and they have no idea what that would entail themselves personally. So it's very easy to be Monday morning quarterback, like, oh, I would like go this guy. I would have started that guy in this game.
We're all
Done
human.
this. Yeah.
We're all human beings, and in the famous words of $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. And that's just, I'll leave it at